So, I started this week's episode hoping to use a bunch of tamarind pods I was gifted from my brother and sister in law. Alas, the leftover was too far gone and I had to pivot. Searching my fridge, I found the makings of a small charcuterie board, and while that might work just fine, I decided to let out my inner child and make some mac and cheese. To quote NBA legend Bill Russell, we are grown men playing a child's game. In that vein, I wanted to explore some of the more childish and childlike behavior seen in NBA history. For our mac and cheese, I have about a half a cup of sharp cheddar, half a cup of parmesan, and half a cup of funky goat and cow milk cheese from a local cheese shop. I also have a dried Spanish chorizo that I'm also adding. So what we're going to do here is shred up the cheese, and remember that store-bought shredded cheese is fine, but is often less cheese per ounce compared to the block and shred approach, which is why I'm going with that. To start, we're making a bechamel, the base sauce for most homemade mac and cheese. This begins with a roux, equal parts butter and flour whisked together in a low heat. Add milk slowly after that is all together, continuing to whisk constantly until homogeneous. Now bring that whole mixture up to just the barest simmer and add the cheese, continuing to whisk until it's all combined. While the butter and flour and cheese mixture is kind of coming together, heat up a pot of water for the noodles and cook according to package instructions. I'm going with classic macaroni, but if you want to use some other crazy fun style, go for it. NBA players are some of the most competitive people on the planet. There are few things they won't do to try and get an advantage over their competition. Sometimes, though, it is painfully childish behavior. Take, for example, Lance Stevenson, who in 2014, while playing for the Indiana Pacers against the Miami Heat in the Eastern Conference Finals, thought it a good plan to psych out reigning MVP LeBron James by blowing into his ear. After the game, in which the Pacers did win, Lance noted he was bringing out everything to get the win. This small victory, though, was quickly overshadowed as the Heat closed out the Pacers the next game and closed them out the second season in a row. Another great moment in over-the-top childish competitiveness comes in the form of Jason Kidd in his first coaching stint with the Brooklyn Nets. During a 2-point game against the LA Lakers with mere seconds left on the clock, the Nets were out of timeouts. The hyper-competitive kid needed a moment to speak to his team, so he grabbed a cup of soda and directed Tyshawn Taylor to run into him, causing him to spill soda all over the floor. A timeout was called by the refs to clean up the mess, and Kidd got his break, but little good it did, as the Nets still lost 99-94, and he was fined for the attempt. As the cheese sauce was coming together, I decided to adult up this childhood classic with some onion, jalapeno, and broccoli, along with the aforementioned chorizo. In a separate pan, sizzle up the collected meat and veggies, sauteing for about 3 to 4 minutes on medium. Combine all of the ingredients into the cheese sauce, along with the noodles, and mix thoroughly. I also added a few spices here, going with some paprika, a little bit of cumin, salt and pepper to taste, mixing that all in as well. When it comes to adding in something unconventional, a classic childlike play for many NBA players comes in the form of sneaking into the opposing team's huddle. In the midst of a timeout, some cheeky player decides to have some fun and huddle up with their opponent, listening to the coach detail a play. It actually happens more often than you'd think. Take a look. When the mac and cheese is all mixed up, top it with about a half cup panko breadcrumbs, and a quarter cup extra grated Parmesan cheese. Place it covered into a 350-degree oven for 30 minutes, removing the cover for the last 5. As we prepare to eat this mature mac and cheese, I wanted to close out pointing to the only food kids want more than carbs and cheese: candy. The NBA has a litany of players with a sweet tooth, whether it is Russ sneaking a quick bite on the bench, or Dwight Howard revealing he ate 24 candy bars a day for nearly 10 years before a nutritionist set him straight, or my personal favorite pregame ritual, the story of Shaquille O'Neal's mother being there for her son in his first season before every game with a stick of bubblegum and a kiss good luck. This mac and cheese is ready to eat right out of the oven, so dig in and let your inner child shine. Tastes pretty good.